DanDaDan is a series that has some of the strangest creatures and monsters all housed under one roof. There's giant worms, a Loch Ness monster, aliens who want your banana, a pistol shrimp man, a big sumo wrestler ghost, etc, etc. On paper, it's a series that doesn't seem like it would work as well as it does. Even the main concept of aliens and ghosts existing together seems like it should not work, but Yuki no Bitatsu makes it work. And the key to this lies in making sure the audience knows just how bizarre it can be from the very beginning. So allow me to tell you how DanDaDan gets to be so weird. Both Okaru's Ghost Encounter and Momo's Alien Encounter throw the audience into the deep end of what DanDaDan is all about. It establishes the singular fact that both aliens and ghosts can exist, which in turn gives basically free reign to whatever happens next. If these two seemingly disconnected things can both exist, why can't the giant death worm? And the specifics of each encounter help adjust the audience to what kinds of situations will arise later in the story by laying out the extremes. It's ultimately a story about getting Okarin's balls back, so making sure the audience is aware of that fact early on helps diffuse the absurdity of it later. It's still a silly premise, but the series takes it seriously, and therefore so does the audience. But it's also contrasted with other villains wanting Momo's psychic powers, which is a much more normal thing for a villain to want. The aliens and Turbo Granny being as weird as they are works to introduce the viewer to how this world operates. It's by no means a normal world, but it is one these characters inhabit. And making the main plot thread about getting Okarin's balls back is a very good extreme to set the series at to adjust the viewer's expectations of what can come next. To give another example of this idea, let's take a look at a series Tatsu worked as an assistant on, and let's talk about Chainsaw Man and how it sets up a similarly weird world that works just as well as DanDaDan's. The very first devil we meet in Chainsaw Man is the Tomato Devil. You can make the argument it's Pochita, but we don't officially know he's a devil until a little later. But either way, to begin the series by introducing us to the Tomato Devil gives the audience a good understanding of what a devil is and what it can be. Making the floor of what can pop up a tomato leaves the ceiling wide open for whatever Fujimoto can cook up later, and he most certainly flexes the notion of what a devil can be, but because he sets the audience up with the fact that a tomato can be one, nothing is off limits. And he reinforces this with the premise of devils being manifested from fear. People are afraid of the most random things, so both a tomato and the fear of getting old can exist together without hampering the world of Chainsaw Man. It's a what the hell, sure, kind of world building, but in a positive way. It's undeniably a weird thing to see as a devil, but if it exists then it makes sense in the universe and the audience can accept it. DanDaDan uses its introduction to create a similar baseline understanding of what is possible in the world. If there are aliens who want your banana and ghosts who want your balls, the sky is the limit for whatever weird thing shows up next. And Tatsu understands as well making DanDaDan. He knows he's made himself the biggest sandbox possible and can fill it with whatever toys he sees fit. But he also understands how to tie character moments into each paranormal or alien encounter. There's no wasted air, but instead an opening that sets up both of the leads and their struggles. Okarun is an awkward fellow who has trouble making friends but really treasures the people that have come into his life, which to a normal person he may still seem a bit strange, but his heart is in the right place. And Momo is likewise someone who is a bit abrasive but also has her heart in the right place. She's kind to Okarun while also being someone who really values the connections she's made in her life. Our two protagonists for DanDaDan are both a bit off kilter in their own ways, but their banter is what helps the series blossom. Their relationship growth throughout the series is one of the best aspects of it, but their banter in the moment also helps get some of the absurdity out of the various paranormal encounters. They acknowledge it, but are rarely given time to process it before a new thing tries to kill them. As they chat with each other at their respective first encounters, it diffuses that tension, even if only a little bit. And that little bit compounds with the management of the audience's expectations for the world of DanDaDan to make the abnormal seem right at home. As DanDaDan progresses, Tatsu begins to take more liberties with expanding the world he created, whether it be folklore, kaiju, or whatever other thing he can conjure up in his mind. It all makes sense because of one key fact, that DanDaDan was always this weird, and that's what makes it such an incredible series. To delve into spoilers beyond the anime, the leaps in logic definitely get a bit bigger, but I will never turn down an opportunity for a series to have kaiju or mechs in it. If you've seen any of the older Godzilla movies, kaiju being in a story about aliens and UFOs hardly feels unnatural. If aliens can create Mecha Godzilla, then it makes complete sense for him to be a series where there are UFOs and aliens. A lot more of the broad sci-fi material that DanDaDan takes from feel like they fit into the world too because of the aforementioned groundwork. But that's all just a testament to how priming an audience for the extremes can really help them better assimilate when you make some smaller jumps. I adore DanDaDan. Reading it is one of the highlights of my Monday, and I think, like Chainsaw Man, It's a series that can be so bizarre, but in the absolute best way possible. I love being surprised week by week by both series, but even when things are so out of left field, I take it as a pleasant surprise instead of getting all hot and bothered by authors who clearly enjoy the worlds they've made for their stories. And neither series suffers from going a little out there, especially because both have some absolutely incredible character work that only continues to grow. Momola and Zuma's respective arcs had me sobbing because DanDaDan, like many other great series, knows when it's time to drop the crying hammer and whip out the emotional moments that are always so incredibly done. I'm so glad the series is finally getting the attention it deserves and hope that more and more people come to love this series that I have loved for years now.